Okay, so we're gonna do an everyday face today. It's gonna be the kind of thing that I would wear if I was like going out for brunch on a Saturday morning. Just like very lightweight, not too heavy, a little bit of something, but it kind of still looks like your skin, almost like you're not wearing makeup, but you definitely are wearing makeup and you feel very put together. That's the vibe that we're going for. So the first thing I'm going to start with is the base, and I'm going to mix the iconic London Radiance Booster in Shell Glow with this Rose Ink Skin Enhanced Luminous Tinted Serum. I'm working my way through this actually. So I bought this like a year ago, and I mainly have been using it just in like the autumn winter months. So I brought it out again into the rotation like a couple months ago now, but I hadn't really used it since the previous winter. I don't know what it is about it. It just feels like an autumn winter product for me. It's very, very, very lightweight. It's like quite unique in terms of the texture and stuff. It doesn't offer a lot of coverage at all. You know what I think, why I feel like it's more of a winter product is because it's not quite as glowy as a lot of other tinted moisturizers, and that's why I've been enjoying mixing it with this. It's much more skin-like, I'd say, than like really dewy and glossy, which a lot of tinted moisturizers tend to be. So I like mixing it with the Radiance Booster just to give me that very glossy look. I'm sorry as well, I'm gonna sound a little bit nasal, but that's because I have a cold. I'm full of a cold and it's kind of coming to the end of it now, but it's still all just very congested around here. So yeah, basically I pumped out about half a pump of each of these, and I'm just going to mix it on my hand. So basically the Rose Ink one is quite unique because it comes out as little like spheres, pigment spheres, sort of suspended in like a clear liquid serum, and you have to break the spheres with your finger to like get it to basically mix properly. I'm not 100% sure on the science, but I don't really know why that is a thing. Like I'm not sure what benefit that brings to the product exactly, but yeah. So I'm just gonna start blending that into the skin just as a very kind of lightweight base. But I like mixing it with the Iconic because I think it just adds a little bit more glow, gives a little bit more life to my skin, a little bit more luminosity, and I just like my skin to have a really healthy glow, like a healthy sheen. Whilst the Rose Ink one does do that a little bit, it's just not quite as much as I always like. It's kind of nice in a way because you have the option to have a more skin-like finish if you want it, and then you can just add like any sort of glow-giving moisturizer. But yeah, basically for my everyday makeup for the past few months, just like if I'm just wanting something super lightweight and not like a full glam look, I've been mixing this Iconic London with either this or my NYX Serum Concealer, which is the Bear With Me Serum Concealer, which I spoke about in my last video, I think. But yeah, I've been mixing it with the Iconic just because I find that then creates like a gorgeous tinted moisturizer, so I don't have to then spend extra money on buying a whole tinted moisturizer when I can like concoct my own version out of what I already have. So, and I really, really love the finish that this kind of adds to both of those products. I prefer using the NYX one in the summer months just because the NYX one already has quite a lot of glow and gloss to it. So I feel like it's more conducive to the summer months. But I have used them both, to be fair, in the autumn winter. It just kind of depends what I'm feeling on the day. Hopefully you can see that that's just kind of evened everything out. My skin has been pretty rough and not the best this week because I am not that well, like I said. Like I've had a lot more texture. The feel of it has been very like rough to the touch. Does anyone else find that when they get ill? I don't know if it's just because your immune system is like fighting other stuff, but even though I'm using the exact same skin routine every day, my skin is just like bumpy all of a sudden. It's just like rough textured. It's really weird because it always happens without fail when I'm ill, even though I'm still using my hyaluronic acid, I'm still using the same moisturizer. Like when I recover from this cold, my skin will go back to the texture it was before. So it's definitely like related to being ill, but I'm just not sure why exactly it does that. So I'm gonna go in with concealer next, and I tend to again just switch this out between whatever my favorite concealer of the moment is. I've spoken a lot in my last video again about the Hourglass one, which I do really love, but I pulled this out of my collection a couple of weeks ago because I remember that I had it. It's the Rare Beauty Liquid Touch Brightening Concealer, and this is in the shade 130N. The reason, again, that I pulled it out is just because I wasn't able to use it in the summer months because it's so light for me. It does work in the winter months, but it's just very, very bright. So if I was to repurchase this, I would just get a slightly darker shade. But I really like how it performs. It's quite thick and it offers a lot of coverage, which is why I went for this one over my NYX concealer today, because like I say, my skin is just acting out a little bit. I've got some blemishes from being ill and I'm just not feeling that confident in my skin today. So yeah, I just wanted to have a little bit more coverage. This concealer kind of reminds me of like the traditional sort of thicker, quite moisturizing concealers that were really popular like a couple years ago, like the Tarte Shape Tape. It kind of feels like that sort of texture, although I never used Tarte Shape Tape, but just from, you know, hearing a lot about it, I kind of imagine that it was probably kind of similar. Because it is quite thick and you don't need a lot of it. A little bit goes a very long way. It's quite like creamy rather than like being really sort of fluidy and spreadable, if that makes sense. But it does offer a really nice amount of coverage. It's not too drying and it's just like a good performing concealer. It's not like blowing my socks off or anything, but it's a really kind of like good staple product that you're not going to be, I don't think you're going to be disappointed by it, as long as you get it in the right shade. So you can see like that has kind of done a really good job of covering my dark circles and covering like this blemish that I had here. Okay, so moving on, this is actually a new product that I'm trying for the first time on camera today. I was suckered in by the Black Friday deals and I realised that I could get this for basically £10 cheaper than it normally is because it was 25% off on Sephora, and then I also have 10% off this brand because it's like my favourite brand. You can do that if you're a member on Sephora, or it used to be Feel Unique in the UK, and you could do it on Feel Unique as well. You basically just like select your like brand for life or whatever, and you can change it once a year, and then you get 10% off that brand throughout the year. So the product that I picked up is the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. Yeah, it's I completely caved to the hype of this. I have swatched it, but it's like it's really not what I expected it to look like, by the way. Everyone says that this is such a good everyday bronzer, and I was in the market for a new one. I'll say why in a minute. But I ended up going for the shade Light, which I think is going to work okay, but I was going between light and light medium just because it was hard to tell like how light this would be. But I think because I want it to be more of like a natural, everyday sort of contour, but very sort of, yeah, minimal bronzer look, I decided to go for light in the end. The reason that it's like not exactly how I expected it to be, I don't know if it's going to pick up on camera, but it looks very like mousse-like in the pan. It's almost like dappled in the pan, and it literally looks like a chocolate mousse. If you are familiar with like the texture of a chocolate mousse, where it sort of has like little air bubbles and stuff in the mousse, it looks like that in the pan. So I was kind of like, is that right? But I'm gonna assume that it's just the texture of the product. I do struggle a little bit with finding the right brush to use for a cream bronzer, but I'm gonna go in with this e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. This is just like a classic kind of kabuki brush. I've been using it for cream bronzer for a couple months, but it does kind of give a more pigmented application than like my stippling brush that I like to use in the summer months. So we're gonna just try and put it on, see what happens with this brush. Ooh, okay, that's more pigmented than I thought it would be. So when I blended it out on the swatch on my hand, it literally like blends out to nothing with my fingers. So I was a bit worried that that might happen as well. I hope that it's not like product that was left on the brush, because I've been using this brush with my Rose Ink cream bronzer, which I do really like, and I've been using that consistently recently. So this is the everyday bronzer that I have been using recently, and I like it because it's a little bit stiffer. It's a bit more, again, autumn winter appropriate. I like my Saie one in the summer months, but I do like going back to this Rose Ink one. It just feels a bit more matte in the winter months. And the shade I have is in Kawaii, and I just find it's a little bit orangey sometimes for everyday. Like, I like it, and it's very pigmented as well, which I like for like a evening makeup look, but I kind of wanted to try something a bit more natural for the daytime. And I'm hoping that this one will kind of work throughout the year, whereas my Saie one I really think comes to life in the summer months and just doesn't have the same texture in the winter when the weather and the temperature is colder. I think the Saie one just works really well when there's a bit more warmth in the air to like warm up the product. I know that's a kind of a weird thing to say, but it's just sort of been my experience with it. I will say it's a lot more bronzy than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be more contoury, but that looks like quite a strong bronze. Okay, so first impressions are, I mean, it blended out really easily. It's a nice kind of lightweight texture. It's easy to make look quite skin-like on the face. I'm just not sure on the shade, honestly. Like, I was hoping it would just look a lot more natural, and I feel like it really looks like I'm wearing a lot of bronzer. So yeah, I'm not sure on that. Maybe I'll try it with a different brush, and maybe I'll update the description box with any other thoughts after I've used it a few other times. Yeah, have you guys tried the Makeup by Mario Skin Enhancer? I know it's such a popular cream bronzer, and I've been wanting to get it all year off and on, and I'm always like, no, it's too expensive, and Black Friday got me. The camera just cut out, so I had to restart it, so you might look a little more zoomed out or in, depending on, I'm not sure. This is just a really, really beautiful like raspberry pink, and this is great for that kind of cold girl cheek if you like that kind of look, and it's really, really nice in the winter months if you're just like going on a walk, or you just want those like really cold bitten cheeks. This is really nice to get that kind of vibe. I don't think I'm gonna go for this one today. I don't know whether to just go for rosy rather than spicy. What am I feeling? Yeah, I think I'm feeling very neutral today, so I'm gonna go for rosy. This is just like a kind of, I mean, it's supposed to be a rose pink, but I think it's got quite a lot of peach in it, or at least it kind of comes off quite warm toned on my skin. And then I normally just take like a Luxie 504 angled flat brush like that, and I just sort of stamp it into the cheeks. And you need to work with this a little bit to blend it. I find it kind of blends in a bit of a stripe to start with, but just keep working and it does quickly kind of blend out nicely across the face. Sometimes I just like to go back in and blend out any of the excess with my fingers and just kind of also blend it into the bronzer. So that is basically now my kind of cream base finished. I then normally go in with my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless setting powder. I have really been liking this Spectrum times Katie Jane Hughes collaboration brush, the 04 brush for this. because I just find it's quite a sheer powder brush, but it still just disperses a really good amount of powder. It sets the face. But yeah, this powder with this brush specifically, I'm really enjoying at the moment. And I also like, because it's angled, you can kind of get into those angles for like contour and stuff. I avoid like the high points of my cheeks, so I keep those quite glowy. And then moving on to eyes. So this is, like I say, my everyday makeup. What I've been really enjoying doing recently is literally just using a little bit of brown eyeliner on the top lash line, smudging it out, and then lots of mascara, and that's it. So I'm gonna take my Beauty Bay eyeliner. This is the Crayon eyeliner in the shade Coffee. Yeah, Coffee. I'm just gonna like place it very close to the lash line, just a little tiny bit, and then I'm going to blend it from the out in. So it looks heavier on the outside than it does on the rest of the eye. I'm gonna take an angled, this is from Beauty Bay as well. It's an angled liner brush. And I'm just gonna kind of lightly blend that. The trick is with this particular look is I don't really want it to look like I'm wearing eyeliner. I just want there to be a bit of extra definition around my eyes to make it look like my lashes are naturally a little bit thicker than what they actually are. So I'm not really trying to do like any kind of defined wing or defined eyeliner look. I'm just trying to give a little bit of extra colour and punch right at the corner there where you would naturally have that like fluttery wing lash look, just so it kind of makes your lashes pop a bit more in the corner of the eye. I'm just gonna curl my lashes, and then I'm gonna go in with my Glossier Lash Slick, which is my holy grail everyday mascara. It's very lengthening. Occasionally I'll get a little bit of smudging under my eyes, but it's honestly like so minimal, and I don't get it every time I wear it. It's like only sometimes, so I always kind of wonder like, what have I done this time to make it smudge? And then I just leave the rest of the eyelids bare, just so it kind of looks like, I say, like I'm not wearing makeup, and I've just put a little bit of mascara on or something, but actually it's like more of an intentional look, but it doesn't really look like that. And then for brows, I'm just gonna go in with, again, my Rose Ink brow thingy gel. It's a brow gel. It's in Fill 02. I don't love this personally. It's fine. Like, I've been using it up for about a year. It does the job that I need it to do. I wouldn't repurchase it. I don't think it's worth the money. I think the Glossier Boy Brow does the same thing for less money, or the Elf Wow Brow. I find this makes my brows look a little bit too much sometimes. Like, it's a little bit too pigmented. And then what I do like doing, even on like this no makeup look, is putting on some Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray from Charlotte Tilbury, because I've said before, but this is like one of my holy grail products now. Like, I can't do my makeup without using it, because it does just genuinely like make my makeup look better, sit better, last better. Like, it's just, and it feels nice to use it as well. So for lips, honestly, I will just wear kind of whatever I'm feeling on the day. Sometimes I won't wear anything on my lips at all. I just put a bit of lip balm on. But I've been really enjoying this combo recently, so I thought I would put it on camera. And this is the Vieve lip liner in Velvet Sands. So it's quite a kind of warm peachy nude. And then, yeah, I'm getting into Vieve recently. This is their Lip Dew, and it's just like the original gold, and it just leaves a really kind of shimmery, glossy look. So what I like to do is line my lips all over, fill them in a little bit but not fully, and then put the lip gloss all over, and it just gives a really kind of warm, peachy, nude, glossy look. It's really nice. So, well, if I do say so myself. So I just kind of fill them in quite roughly, to be honest. The main thing is you want the outsides lined, and then you can kind of just do whatever in the middle. I 100% bought this because Grace Beverly was raving about this lip gloss, saying it was like the GOAT lip gloss of all time. It is really nice. I don't know if it's the GOAT. To me, it's just like a nice, shiny lip gloss. But it is nice. I don't know if it's like any better than like my other lip glosses, you know? And then I like to like rub them together really hard. So it kind of blends the lip liner into the lip gloss a bit more. So that is the finished makeup look. It's just a very easy, very wearable, everyday look that you just kind of don't need to try too hard to achieve. So I hope that you've enjoyed this and have found it helpful and are inspired by some of these products. Let me know if you've tried any of them down below, or if there are any particular products that you're loving right now to achieve this kind of like everyday natural look. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you are doing well and taking care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.